Hey, it's Lisa Ryan, and welcome to the Manufacturers Network podcast live edition. I'm here today with Damon Pistulka. Damon is co-founder of Exit Your Way, where he focuses on identifying and executing opportunities for business owners to increase their business's value. Damon worked his way through college and earned a mechanical engineering degree. He started working in an injection molding company where he worked in technical and managerial roles, including designing, building, and operating facilities. Damon went out to manage businesses in the design and production of retail store fixtures, custom fabricated metal products, advanced aerospace components, and high-tech devices. Damon, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lisa. And that is quite a mouthful, and it makes me realize I have to rewrite that because it's too much, too much. Come on. It just shows I'm old. That's all that does.
You know what? But it shows that you've been in and around the manufacturing business and that you've been working in that area. And, that's who listens to the podcast. So,
well, that's good. I mean, I did honestly, when I was in college, I worked my way through college, sweeping the floor in the tool room until they finally started letting me draft and do other things that I was getting closer to getting out of school. So I've been in manufacturing a long time. That's for sure.
Yeah. So share with us a little bit about your journey. As a young man, what initially brought you into manufacturing, and then what kept you there?
It was really, I don't know how the heck I got into manufacturing, but I grew up on a big farm, right? So literally in one of the farms that you think of in the Dakotas, out in the middle of nowhere, where it was miles and miles. I mean, like I always tell people, the nearest Walmart is about 70 miles away. So this is just to get that, but so you're out there, right? And we thousands of acres we're farming. You have to understand how to fix things and all that, and you just learn. It's just kind of a assumed fact that you're going to do that, right? You're going to know work with your hands and that kind of stuff. So I get to college and I'm like, I really didn't know what to do, and I ended up having a roommate that was in engineering, and I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. This is after my first semester of college, and I was like, that's pretty cool. And I started doing engineering, and the next thing you know, I was in mechanical engineering program, and then I was working for a manufacturer, and here I am many years later.
Yeah.
So, and it was been fun. I really enjoyed the technical part of it and learning how things are done. And I still to this day am just enthralled by when I can walk through a manufacturing facility and see products being made and touch them when they're done and just feel them, because it's so much fun to do that. And it really doesn't matter. I mean, I've been able to, injection molding, we made all kinds of medical products and business products and things for that goes on doors and all this stuff that you just get involved in so many different places. And then being able, helping those companies do that, I was able to go into, I don't know how many plants, where television plants and automotive plants and tools like Black & Decker type tools where they're making air compressors and hand tools and all this stuff that you just go, wow, that's how a drill's made, and I see all that stuff. And it was so much fun to do that. And then being able to, as I was running companies for people, taking the knowledge from all the way back of how things get done and then applying that in the business setting has always been fun for me, because when you can get a company working together, so everyone, the people that are the people that are designing, or the people that are in the office, and the people that are working on the product or handling the product, all know what they're supposed to be doing, and they're all working together, and it's not we and them and all that kind of BS that goes on. You can achieve so much with not a lot of money, and just because of the ingenuity, the ingenuity that you get when people work together, the diversity, bring people all together to solve problems is so much fun. It's so much fun.
That's one of the things that I really loved about being in manufacturing when I was in the welding industry. Same thing. You get to see how everything's made, because when you look around you, everything's been manufactured.
Yeah.
And when we think about manufacturing and these younger generations coming into the workplace, because they haven't had that same level of exposure, they don't necessarily know how cool and how passionate people can get about it. I mean, my manufacturing audiences are some of the most passionate people on the planet about what they do. But when it comes to changing that conversation, because you know that there's lots of manufacturers out there who have been doing it the same way for 40 years, same equipment that they've had in the plant, and this is not how we attract the new generation. So you and I are going to talk about ways that you've seen, your clients and how you've helped people as far as little things that we can do to start to modernize manufacturing for today and for the future. So, just start there. Kind of what are you seeing and how are you helping your clients progress and change things?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I talk about modernizing manufacturing, I don't even pretend to know how to do it in the manufacturing floor anymore. I mean, and I think that is something that manufacturers are very good at, right? If you're in business today, you're not a sloppy manufacturer anymore. You've been out of business a long time. Even if you're an OEM manufacturer, you got to get good at least producing that product and efficiently enough to support yourself. So when it comes to the manufacturing floor, I think there's two things we're selling ourselves short on. So let's back up to the beginning of your question. Modernizing manufacturing to me is really about digital transformation.
Yep.
And it's not because I think everyone should be using digital marketing. I think you should be to some extent, but it's not only that. It's the fact that understanding the generational transformation that we're going through, and we're getting into this quite a ways down the road, and really understanding that, and what does it mean for our workforce, what does it mean for our customer base. And that's where I really talk with more of the clients that I'm working with, is really understanding your customer base and how it's changed over the last 10 years. Because in manufacturing and some of the other industries we work with that are closely related, it traditionally was Damon's going to be out. Damon's a salesman for a manufacturer. He's out meeting with customers. That's what we do. That's how we sell. We got a website. You can get our phone number off that. That might have literally been all it was, or it's an equipment list or something like that. We got some pictures of product, whatever it is. And that's really the length of the breadth of the way the digital format was. And that's the sales process, right? I have X many salespeople or manufacturers reps or distributors or however the heck I'm selling my product. That's the way I did it. Well, fast forward to today. We've been going through the last, how many years we've been talking about baby boomers retiring. I mean, heck, it started 10 years ago already, right? And we're rolling through that. And now it's really hitting. I mean, because when you look at manufacturing and you go, okay, we've got the double whammy in 2021 because we got the big job shift that people are talking about, people leaving because it's such an employer's market, going wherever they want. And you got people retiring at a faster rate than ever before because they sat through the 2008 and 9, the baby boomers did, when the real estate went to hell, and then they stayed through that. And then we hit COVID in 2020, and some people were kind of hung on. And now when people are getting past this, we're going to have even more. But the underlying change that's happened that people don't focus on a lot in manufacturing is the average age of the buying population is not going up anymore. It's going down significantly. And when you think about that, both on the buying population and the employees, these people all grew up with Google, and most of them grew up with a cell phone in their hand. How are they going to know if they want to come and work for your company? They're going to look up your website, and they're going to be concerned about things that people in my generation never really, we care about, but we didn't really focus on. What's your community involvement? What's your larger purpose? How do you treat your employees? What kind of things are you going to do for me that helps me as a person? And this is like totally foreign. I mean, think about when you were working in manufacturing, how much time was spent on that?
Yeah, none. And what you just said too with the cell phone, it's like not only are we looking at ways to add apps because the guys are out in the field or they're on the shop
Yep.
floor and they can look up a short video, but even they're checking you out on YouTube. So who do you have that you just maybe took your phone and said, hey, what do you like about working here? Or showing a process. I
Yes.
love on LinkedIn and on YouTube where you just have these little short videos on how things are made. Because if I'm a prospective candidate thinking about going into manufacturing, I'm like, wow, I can do that, because you're making it look exciting and you're showing them what they can be a part of versus just, like you said, the old website with the phone number and an equipment list. I see that and it's
Yeah.
like, done.
Yeah. And I think that's the real change that's happening now in manufacturing that we all need to be aware of and be changing to accommodate is our people that are coming to work for us now are the cell phone generation. They want to know what the company's going to do for them, and they also want to know what you expect from them as a company. So they know. I don't really think that millennials or the next generation beyond, forget me, I don't
Gen
remember.
Z.
Gen Z. There we go. There, so I don't really know exactly what they want, but they want a sense of involvement and one of the kind of things. And I don't necessarily think that they don't want to work. I just think they want to clearly need to know that, hey, I'm going to get this if I do that. And that's not different. I mean, that's no different than when we grew up. We just needed to know. We just weren't as concerned about maybe the environment or the community and the overall good that a company's doing. That's a bit more, I think, now. But you really have to be clear on that. And you have to be know that you're competitive, because now people can go and they can check out different companies much easier again, because information at their fingertips. In the
Right.
80s, when you were looking to find a job, or the 90s, you're looking to find a job, how the heck did you know what the benefits were at a company before? We didn't have a place like Glassdoor where people can get on Glassdoor, and most of the manufacturers that are listening probably don't even know what it is. But I'll tell you, go look at your company and look at Glassdoor, because if you had bad employee experiences, it's probably on there and you don't even know about it. And
Yeah.
your Gen Z and millennials, they're looking at that before they come to work with you.
I'm saying like, I'm saying like ding, 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 ding.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
you may be driving, listening to this or something, but
yeah,
write that down,
right. Glass,
glassdoor.com.
yeah, it is the place, because I've come to clients that I've started to work with them. I look at their Glassdoor and they goes, "What's Glassdoor?" It doesn't matter. And they said, "Well, you got a bad couple bad reviews on Glassdoor or some negative comments here." Well, what's that matter? And
Oof.
yeah, years ago, it wouldn't matter, right? It wouldn't matter, because we don't understand those things. But just like when you're trying to sell something today, we have to put ourselves in the shoes of that person and make ourselves attractive to that person. That
Right.
person is different than we are.
Well, and those negative reviews, they can actually be offset if that company actually comments and says, we understand, or we're seeing, and you're showing that you're paying attention to those. A bad review is not going to kill you, because we
No.
all know that, grumpy people leave companies. It's not that
Yeah.
big of a deal, but it's in conveying that, are you a company that people want to work for? Because I agree with you, millennials, Gen Z, they want to work. What we need to do is give them opportunities so that they want to work for you.
100%. You said it much better than I could, and that's really the point. And when you look at modernizing your manufacturing, and again, we're not talking about out in the shop or whatever you're making and that kind of stuff. This is about modernizing you to be attractive to employees, modernizing you to be attractive to customers. Because when we look at the customer side of it too, look at these customers that we're selling to. I don't care if you're selling, you're a tier 1 supplier and you're trying to win contracts with, just name a big company, right? The average age of the person that you're selling to is probably 35 to 45, right? Those people grew up with a cell phone in their hand. They're using Amazon way more than the 50 plus year old person is. And they expect to do business kind of that way, right? They expect that your business is doing a lot more than the old, okay, the system's going to send you the POs and it'll show up when it's supposed to, blah, 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 blah. They want to be able to look you up online. They want to be able to see what's going on with you. They want to really feel a part of your business and understand how you are a part of their business and how you are a part of helping them. And that takes a different approach. It's not a salesman talking to them once every quarter or whatever it is to check in, or them having a good account rep at the other end that's taking that order. It's about, you're sending them some valuable information on the products you use, or ways that they could improve in some other area of their business, or how you can make their life better with your solutions, or just keeping them informed on industry news. And like you said, the same kind of approach for people that are buying from you now or going to buy from you in the future. You have to be producing stuff on YouTube. You have to be putting some sort of content out in a blog, or once in a while, or periodically sending an email of good information out to your customer base or potential customer base. It's not an option anymore.
Right. And when you're doing things for the community, you had mentioned that earlier about how are you showing up, giving back to the community? What is your mission? How are you making a difference? That's important to today's buyers too.
Yes.
So if you're doing something, some people are like, well, I don't want to toot my own horn. I want to be anonymous. I want to just do good. But it's in that sharing of what you're doing in a genuine, authentic way that this is how we're making a difference, to make that buyer be proud of the fact that they're doing business with you or with an organization like yours.
Yeah. And you make it, the point you make about not wanting to toot your own horn and all that, there are ways to do this and be very, subdued about the fact that you're doing it right. You can, just because you can sponsor a great charity event, or you can, your workforce can go out and work for a week on some great project. It's not about tooting your own horn. It's about helping the community. Focus on the what you're helping, not on you. And it won't look like you're tooting your own horn. It looks like you are so grateful that your customers allow you, because we do good work and we have great customers, it allows us to do this for our community. And then you're not tooting your own horn. You're just showing people how you really want to be able to use the benefits of the business relationship to help more people. And like you said, the buyers want to see that because they feel a part of it, right? If your customer can feel a part of you helping the community, that's even better.
Yeah. Because what differentiates you? You're competing with somebody down the street who's making exactly the same thing you are. Okay,
Yeah.
well, maybe I know it's a different quality, blah, 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 but it's still what differentiates you, and having those roles, being seen in the community, really taking into account who's buying from you instead of just that product that we've always sold it this way.
Yeah. Look at the difference in retail, right? You have the behemoths like the Walmart or the Kroger or the big store chains, right? Could be the Albertsons or whatever, the grocery stores. Why is a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods or something like that popular? It's a much different market that we're working in. That's a younger market that shops in those, and they're very loyal to those brands because they have maybe a little more community feel to them or something like that. And just interchange the brands with this. You can see it all over, in what you're doing and what you're buying. People want to know that they're buying from somebody that is not just in it for the buck. They're in it to help more than, help the community or the world at large as well.
Right. And I think that's such a good point of focusing on the buyers, because a lot of times on this podcast, we talk about the employees and the younger generations and attracting and retaining the employees you have with that different mindset, because younger people who grew up with the cell phone think differently. And this adds such a different perspective, because now we're taking it even further into the whole atmosphere of our business, of not only considering those same technology challenges and apps and videos and everything to attract and retain employees, but also looking at that world of people who are buying from you. So such a great way of looking at it.
Yeah, you have to put your customers and your employees in your story with you. Because if they're not in it with you, then you're really competing for airtime. But when you can show your customers how they're helping you to do good in the world, and yes, you're going to make the quality, on-time delivery, pricing, all that stuff is old news. If you're sitting there on your website and you're saying, "Hey, we produce the highest quality at the lowest prices possible," blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
There's 14 million other sites that do the same damn thing. So listen, it's not worth your time to put that on there. Put why you're different.
Exactly.
We treat people this way. We do this in our community. I mean, I was talking to Matt Goosey from MRS Machining on my Faces of Business podcast last week. Matt does something where he shares 40% of his profits back with his employees every year, because he appreciates. I mean, now how many places do that, and how much of a community impact is that, and how much if I was trying to recruit employees, how big of a deal, how much does that show that he really cares about the employees?
Right.
It just things like this that are amazing. Yeah, you still have to make great parts on time and all that, but those differentiators that you have are probably not inside the manufacturing floor anymore as much as they are about how you do business.
Right. So if it came down to, your best tip to somebody, because we've covered a lot of ground today when it comes to modernizing, not the equipment, but modernizing the whole feel of manufacturing and the buyers and the employees, what would you say would be a great step for somebody to get started?
I think it's really putting themselves in the place of an employee and looking at your company from that perspective. Go have a 20-something-year-old person look at your company and just say, what do you think when you look at our website if you are coming to work here? Or have them have someone that's a little older look at the same thing from buying from you. Look at your website, look at all your social media, look at all your marketing materials, whatever you've got put together, and say, how does it make you feel? Because that is those are the real people that matter. It doesn't matter if your branding people or your salespeople think this is the coolest flyer ever, or I'm the best salesperson ever. It's what your audience thinks, right? What the people that are actually going to make a decision based on what you've got there. That's who matters. Put yourself in their position and really honestly look at your stuff and change it.
Right. And so easy to do. Just find somebody to really secret shop you. Another thing that kind of popped into my mind too is go through the process of somebody trying to apply at your company. Somebody
100%.
going through your website and go through that. Call your company, incognito, and see how's the phone answered, how are you treated, all of these different things, and be prepared for the real story of what's really going on in your company.
Yeah. If you've got a great customer that you've done business with or just started doing business with, right? Ask them what's good and tell me straight up what's bad. What are we not doing right? What are the top 3 things I could do to make what we do for you even better. And I'll guarantee you, it's not going to be around the components you produce or the, whatever the price. It's around something that you're not communicating well enough. You could do something better on your website. These are the kind of things that we really, really, really need to focus on, because we have to make it more convenient and more attractive for people to work for us or do business with us.
Right. Well, Damon, as we get to the end of our time together, tell us a little bit about what you do when you work with your clients and what's the best way for people to get in touch with you.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Lisa. We work with clients that are typically within about 5 years of some sort of exit from their company. And what we do specifically is we help owners of the companies prepare their company for that sale or succession, whatever they're going to do, if they're going to sell their company or succeed it. Because most people don't realize that only about 25% of companies get sold, and only about 40% of businesses ever make it to the second generation. And then it's 13% to the third. So what that means is there's a lot of preparation and changes that need to take place to successfully sell or succeed a business. And we're that guide. We're alongside the owner. We're saying, we've been here, we've done this before. Listen, if you're going to sell your company, you can make millions of dollars at yourself. But if you're the value in the company, you can't do that. Other people won't buy it. If you have all your eggs are in one basket, one customer, it's going to be harder to sell your company. Or there's just different things that we have to work on, making them attractive and valuable to the next person, whether that's a buyer or that's a family member that's going to take the business over for you. And that's what we do. Our process is typically a couple of years, and close to a couple of years by the time we're done with it. But we, from that 25 or 40% number of selling or succeeding, we're well over 95% when we do it. So,
wow.
And usually we're doubling or more of the value of the business by the time they do it. So it's a lot of fun. It's something that I used to do when I ran companies for private equity owners. And I just enjoy doing it with our company and the people we work with, and internally and externally, because we're impacting people's lives by doing it.
And how do people get a hold of you?
Damon Pistulka. First of all, I don't think there's another person with my name in the world. So that's pretty easy. If you can do that. LinkedIn is good. And if you want to do email, it's just Damon, DAMON @exityourway.com.
Awesome. Well, Damon, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today. Thanks so much for being with me.
Thanks, Lisa.
You're very welcome. I'm Lisa Ryan, and this is the Manufacturers Network podcast. See you next time.